All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 40. Yes, episode 40 of the VF Cast. I am VF Baller, and like over here, we talk about gaming, and this is going to be a very different episode from what I normally do as far as talk about games. Because when I talk about games, I normally talk about it in the physical copy space or in the physical copy world. But today I'm going to talk about some digital stuff, and not only I'm going to be talking about digital stuff, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on why I'm doing the digital thing and what does that mean with my gaming habits going forward. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. So hopefully you guys hang around. Hopefully you guys will be able to understand where I'm coming from. And also I want you guys to give me some feedback if you don't mind, because I think this is a very interesting, topic that people talk about, but they don't talk about it to the extent, because for most people it's like out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? They feel like if they have, whatever they need for their consoles, it's cool. But I think that, I really feel that digital or just upgrading your storage is a really big deal when it comes to these consoles. And I'm not just talking about like your latest consoles from like PlayStation 3 on up, or like original Xbox or whatever, because those consoles came with a hard drive. But those consoles came with a hard drive. But when you talking about like the older consoles, like you could actually put storage and you could put hard drives or SD cards in consoles earlier than that for them to continue to function and work. I think that's a really big deal when it comes to preservation. And I'm gonna give you the method of my madness and the reason why I feel that way. Well, if this is your first time here, welcome. I really appreciate you coming through, and hopefully you decide to subscribe and share this content, because I mainly talk about, gaming on a daily basis, and I also have a running football game theme where I play NCAA 08 and Madden 08, which that may change in the future, but we'll talk about that at another time. But thank you just for stopping by either way. All right, it all started with this thing right here. This is my original hard drive for my PlayStation 3. Well, this one is only 160. I think it was like 160 gigabytes or something like that. I have a very extensive PlayStation 3 library, not only just physical but digital. I have almost 600 games digital, between that and some DLCs or whatever. I think it's about the 580. So all of that could not fit on this it could not fit on this hard drive. So what I did was I bought a 1 terabyte hard drive, and I basically transferred all my data from this one to the 1 terabyte one. And what happened was I realized I have a lot of space, because, well, I'm not gonna say I have a lot of space. I just realized that's when I really realized how many games I had, because the games that I had was the games I wanted to play. But I turned around and realized, like, I have games that I really miss playing that I couldn't download because this right here just didn't hold it all. So I got pretty much everything I wanted to have on my PlayStation 3, and it's cool. I'm very happy. And before the store closes, I'm going to try to buy a couple more games that I want as well. So it had me thinking about other stuff. And then, believe me, this is about to get really. I'm about to go down a rabbit hole that I'm actually glad I'm going down. Next, I also realized that my PlayStation 5. My PlayStation 5 has a 1 terabyte, SSD in it, and I could upgrade that if I wanted to. Well, my PlayStation 4 already had a 4 terabyte hard drive, and I was like, okay, maybe I could just use that in the PlayStation 5, and I can, have my PS5 games on my SSD and have my PS4 games on my regular hard drive. So that's taken care of. That's good. I'm good with that. I may upgrade the SSD in the PS5 because it's only 1 terabyte. I may try to upgrade that to like a 4 or whatever, because there's a lot of games that are on there that I want, and plus a lot of games on there hold a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? They're very, they're pretty what's the word I want to say? They take up a lot of space, a lot of gigabytes or whatever. So that may be the next thing I do. And also, believe it or not, this is what I've done next. I went over to the Wii U, Yeah, I actually did the Wii U. And the Wii U don't have that much games that I really want, but I upgraded the hard drive on my Wii U. And I actually have a 1 terabyte hard drive go along with my Wii U. And what I may do with that, and there's a reason, one reason why I did that. A lot of people are like, oh, you still play the Wii U? Well, the problem with my Wii U is the disk drive itself is starting to go bad. I tried to play Mario Kart 8 the other day, and it kept saying invalid disk when I know the disk is actually pretty clean. So the disk starting to go bad. So and plus the store's about to close. So what I may do is I'm going to probably end up I'm probably going to end up taking my Wii U and hack it. And I'll probably just hack it and just probably get all the games that I already own and put it all on the hard drive or whatever. So I'm already doing that. I'm in the process of that. And even if I don't do that, I'm okay with all the stuff that's already digital because I have a lot of digital stuff on it already. Like there's some Wii stuff and other things that are Wii U bound. And even if the hard drive, I mean not the hard drive, but even if the disk drive stopped working, I'll probably still be okay with that. I know you probably hear my son in the background. Y'all know how it is when I'm here. If this is your first time here, my son always come through and says what he had to say. Anyway, so the next thing I started to work on is I wanted to start on the original Xbox, but the problem is the hack version of the original Xbox is not really reliable, and I'm starting to get kind of weary about that. I may just have to go ahead and get a whole nother original Xbox to where it's cleaned, or I may clean the one that I have and just go with it from there. For the most part, the one I have now is fine, but I don't want to mod it because the last one I modded did not go very well, and they're not very reliable. It's gonna have to get to a point where I may have to just get it cleaned completely because as the time gets older, capacitors get old, they may start to leak, and it could get really bad. It could get really bad when it comes to the original Xbox. It's a great console. It's my favorite console, one of my favorites anyway, and it is something that I may end up doing down the road. As far as hard drive upgrade or whatever, I may do that because there's a way you could do that without even modding it. But then again, I'm not really trying to play any games off the Xbox hard drive unless if I, find a really good modding service. So that situation there is a whole different thing. As far as, and I'm gonna get to I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. I've been in the works of doing the PlayStation 2, and I'm thinking I'm gonna put an SSD in my PlayStation 2. Yes, there's an SSD. You can put an SSD in a PlayStation 2. It has been, you could go all over the internet and all over the YouTubes and look that up. I am planning on doing that because I already have a regular hard drive in it, and the hard drive is cool. And if push comes to shove, I don't mind keeping that. But the SSD just seems like a much better solution, obviously, because we know how SSDs run with your regular, against a regular hard drive. Now, this is where I get into the method of why I'm doing this. Don't get me wrong, I love my physical copies. I'm going to keep my physical copies. I'm going to continue to collect for my physical copies. And the thing about that is some of the games, in time, some games just stop working, and that's always just going to be a problem. Just like I was talking about my Wii U, which for some reason, like I don't know if it's the disc drive or whatever the case may be, but all these consoles do have a shelf life, and some of the disc drives just stop working. And not only that, sometimes the disc itself stop working. The PlayStation 2 is pretty good on the life of disc or whatever, but the hardware itself is like really bad, especially the fat PS2s. I have 2 of them, and one of them is really slow to boot up, but I mean like to boot up a disc, but once it gets going it's cool. But I just want to keep that option out there to have both. Like the PlayStation 3 has an option for both, the PS5 have an option for both, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, all of them have options for both. Why not do it for my older consoles? The PlayStation 2 already has an opening for a hard drive. Why not use it? So that's what I'm doing. The Xbox, same thing, but it doesn't utilize it the same way as far as putting games on the hard drive, which like I said, that could be used another day. But I'm not really a big fan of modding my original Xbox anymore. I used to be a big fan of it, but I kind of got away from it. Maybe one day, just depends on which one. If I find one that is in really good working condition, I may get back into it. But no, I don't see myself now. What does this mean for the other consoles, like the ones that came out before then, the PlayStation 1 or the GameCube, let's say the Dreamcast, whatever the case may be. Believe it or not, you can put a SSD, not an SSD, but a micro SD in to those consoles, and it can work. I'm not sure if I have to gut the entire console out for it to work. Like, say for instance, you have to take the disk drive out, because I know the Dreamcast and the PlayStation, I think you have to take the disk drive out, which I'm okay with, and I'll tell you why. Especially for the PlayStation 1, I don't mind taking the disk drive out for the PlayStation 1 to put an SD card in, because I have various ways of playing PlayStation 1s. Like, I could play a PlayStation 1 game on my PS3 or my PS2. No problem there. Dreamcast, not so much. I know there's other ways to do it without taking I think there's other ways to do it without taking out the disk drive. But then again, this goes back to what I was saying about the disk drive itself. The disk drive on the Dreamcast is known to be faulty, and a guy at one of these retro stores that I work at, well, not work at, but I go to, he's always asking me, he's like, "Hey, you got 2 Dreamcasts? Why don't you take one and mod it for SD storage? Or I'm not SD, yeah, SD storage. Why don't you do that?" And I keep putting it off. But the more I think about it, or ever since I started dealing with this, I've been thinking about it. Like, okay, I already have one Dreamcast I can play my disc on, and that one's working fine. And the other one is working fine too, but I know it struggles a little bit compared to the other Dreamcast. Why not, take the disc drive out, or whatever the case may be? If I ever wanted to use it again, I can put it back in. And not only that, the guy the store I go to his store to purchase games, he has extra GD-ROM disc drives, new ones that he's bought that could replace it if need be. Or at the end of the day, what I can do is just go ahead and just find that modification that keeps both. And that's what I kind of want to do with the Dreamcast. I want to have a modification that keeps both. Now, the GameCube itself, I don't think the GameCube does that. I think the GameCube, you have to take the entire drive out. Now, I have a second GameCube that don't work at all. This GameCube over here, it doesn't work at all. I mean, I wish I had it over here, but I don't. But I have 2. I have one that's down here under the TV, and I have another one over there that just does not work. I may end up just gutting that one all together and just put an SD loader in there and just call it a day. And so I always want to keep the option where I can play both the disc or the digital side. So that's where I want to get at with all of that. Not only that I want to have a situation where I have more storage, like, well, memory cards or whatever. I mean, getting memory cards for any of the 6th generation consoles or 5th generation consoles is nothing. That's nothing to get. Even with the Saturn, that's not hard to get. But I want to have the option to say I could put games on one and play games on the other. I'm not getting away from playing disc-based games. I mean, I love playing my disc, and I won't get away from them until the wheel fall off and they don't want to work anymore. I will continue to play my disc, but just to have this as an option is always good. Now, what about the Saturn? The Saturn, you can do that as well. And I think the Saturn is probably one of the reasons why I really, really want to do this. Between the PlayStation 2 and the Saturn console itself is like expensive. Like, the games are expensive. And I have pretty much all the games that I want. I don't see myself really purchasing any other games. Maybe like Cyberbots or something like that. I may get a couple more Saturn games, but I don't see myself getting any. But with that being said, I don't mind transferring some of those games over to like the Satiator or something like that, because they have like ways that you can upgrade the storage in it, where you can actually play games off of an SD drive, or another, I think it's another way you could do it, like an ODE or something like that. Now, the ODE causes you have to gut the disk drive out, which I kind of don't want to do. The other one is like where you can put put the little storage in the back of the where the VCD goes, and that works. And I'm planning on doing that as well. Now I also have 2 Saturns as well. I have a Japanese one and a regular one. So either way, if I decide to do either one, it's fine because I can always go back and play the disc on one of those Saturns, and I have the digital side of things. Now, before I close, I want to say this. I don't have any plans of doing this on the 360 as well, because for some reason, Xbox, no, don't get me wrong, I take this back. I want to upgrade the storage on the Xbox 360 because right now I think I have like a 120 gig 360, and I want to upgrade that to like a higher hard drive. With that's not gonna be hard to do. But I don't have any plans of doing this with the Xbox One or the Xbox Series or anything like that. To be quite honest, I haven't really talked about this, but I'll talk about this sometime down the road. I've fallen out of love with the Xbox One, Xbox Series, those 2 consoles. I just fallen out of love of. I don't have my PS4 anymore because I have a PS5, which you can see like right here. If you see my arm shaking right there. I don't have my PS4 because the PS5 plays PS4 games. I may go back and get a PS4 sometime down the road. I don't plan on it, but that I'm just going on ranting again. The Xbox One and Xbox Series, I've fallen out of love with them. I don't feel any attachment to those consoles anymore because they don't do the same for me as these other ones where I feel like I own the games. I don't feel like I own anything on those 2 consoles. So 360, I plan on upgrading that. As far as the other consoles, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, N64, I plan on getting maybe like flashcards, like SD to SNES or something like that. That's what the FX pack, or getting like basically like a flash card where you could put all your games on there. And I know that's kind of counterintuitive because I don't have this issue with like cartridge-based games. Cartridge-based games going to work. Those things are going to work for a long time. But at the same time, I'm also having an issue with a couple of my games. Like, let's say, for instance, NBA Jam Tournament Edition does not save anymore. I think I had to change the battery out on that. Well, that's going to cost a lot of money to get the battery changed out. I'd rather just go ahead and just get another game. Or like I said, my Joe Montana football, which I love that football game. It keeps freezing on me. Like, I don't understand why a cartridge-based game continues to freeze, but that's another story for another day. Now, the flip side of that, I do have the mini versions of these consoles. Like right next to them over here, I know you can't see them very well. I have the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES Mini, PlayStation Mini. I have the mini versions of the consoles, and those games run just fine. Like I have a lot of my games that I have backed up on there. They run just fine. So that may be a way to go. I may go down that route and just get flashcards. I don't know yet, but I'm okay with the cartridge-based games. Right? I don't have it. My main thing is the CD-based games, CD, DVD, and these Blu-ray games. Those are the games I have a problem because they're disc-based. Disco, they stop working, they get scratched up, or they just stop working for whatever reason. The lasers start acting up and all this other stuff. And I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game. Like, okay, kind of like how I did with my CDs. Like when I bought CDs back in the day, I thought I was all that. Then, MP3 started, and then I started thinking like, I'm not about to sit around and carry a backpack all day full of CDs. Why am I doing this? So I started putting them on MP3, and I put all my music on MP3, never look back. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love my CDs. I still have them, but you could tell like from 10, 15 years ago, those CDs aren't as stable as they used to be. The same thing could go about the same thing for these games. So I'm just trying to take precautions and go with that route. And so far I'm having fun with it. I can't wait to see what else I'm gonna do with these other consoles, especially with the Wii U, because the Wii U is pretty much dying off. Literally, the store and my disk drive is kind of dying off, and I got 1 terabyte to use in that. That's gonna be a lot of stuff that I could put on that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fill it up, but hey, it's there. It's there. All right, let me know what you guys think, man. Do you think I'm crazy? Do I think I'm off my rocker? Am I going too far with this? Am I right? Am I wrong? Are you doing this? Are you doing this as well? Are you finding a way to put your games in some type of preservation as far as moving some disc-based games over to digital, but at the same time keeping your disc, because that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping my disc at the same time. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm just upgrading my storage so I can just have the option. It's always good to have options. Let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far, thank you. I hope you like, share, and subscribe to the VF Cast and this channel. Over here I talk about gaming, and I also do all other kinds of stuff when I talk about certain topics, but I thought today this was going to be a pretty interesting one. So let me know what you guys think. If you're doing anything different, let me know. Give me some feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys be blessed. Peace.